Welcome to Girls Who Read Porn. Please be advised that this podcast contains mature content for mature audiences. The title might have given that away though. We would also advise you triple check the trigger warnings of each book prior to the episode, and if it's not for you, we'll see you next week. Each episode includes major spoilers, so make sure you read the book, and don't say we didn't warn you. With all that in mind, on with the show.
Hi everybody and welcome back to another episode of Girls Who Read Porn. It's me, G, and as usual I am joined by the lovely Betty.
Hello.
And Ola, how are you?
Good morning. I am tired,
Yeah.
but I'm here. I'm alive. I'm going to Babe today. It's going to be a great time.
And
except for the fact that there are no books there.
Yeah. And
the dramas, the freaking printing company who did not print any books.
Yeah, that's not good.
It'll be interesting. Yeah.
And so we're also very
It's like an author's nightmare.
We're very lucky today to be joined by Saffron A. Kent. How are you, Saffron?
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm good. How are you guys? Well, Babe sure sounds really fun. Although, despite the problem, like no book.
Yeah.
I know. And they're like, and these poor authors are just like, we found so many strips that we could do book plates on and stuff. And I'm like, all right, let's see how this goes.
That's pretty rough, isn't it? A book like
event without books.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I know.
Oh, nice.
Well, it's gonna be interesting. That's for sure.
Yeah, it will be very
Thanks
interesting.
for joining us, Saffron.
Okay. And so what was it that originally got you into writing romance books, Saffron?
Okay, so, well, I would say I've always been a romance reader. That's that's how I got started into reading, and I always read like all through high school. I used to write also like poems and short stories, like they all sucked, but when I was a kid. But then what really pushed me was I would say my husband, who was my boyfriend back then. Like he was the one who encouraged me to go for it, because I was doing something completely different. I was going to do my PhD in immunology, and I worked in a research lab, and I hated every second of it. And my husband saw that, and he was like, well, you cry about your work every weekend. Why don't you cry about something that you actually like? You don't even like that. Then I was like, yeah, well, that's true. So then I thought back to what I really like. So I like reading. I loved reading. So I was like, why don't I try to write something? And then I joined like an online course, a romance writing course. Like it didn't even occur to me to write something else because I always read romance. So, and then I loved it so much. I quit my job. I went back to school to study creative writing and never looked back. So yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's
wow. That's what a complete 180.
Yeah,
going
immunology.
from just getting your PhD. Yeah.
I know. I guess I was always creative, but like I'm from India, and you know how the stereotype, like in pop culture, you see like Asian parents are very much into science and math. My parents were actually like that, so I was always pushed into science and math, and I hated math. Like I was really bad at math, so science, biology was my only option. But I couldn't do it. I was like, I'm gonna follow. Yeah, I couldn't do it. So I was like, okay, whatever. I'm gonna do something else. But
Good for
yeah,
you.
I know. But my parents are happy now. They're very happy.
Good.
Good. Which is because it's very rare, I think, when no one else does the thing that you want to do. Like no one in my family is a writer or does anything remotely creative. I'm the only one, so I got lucky, I think.
You're like nice. You're like the odd person out in the family.
I am. I've always been an odd person out wherever I go. It's true for my family also. Like I'm completely different from them.
Well, it's definitely all worked out because you've published a lot of books so far, and pretty much all of them have really good reviews. You're renowned as a really good romance writer, so everything's working out.
Oh well, that I'm blushing. Thank you so much. Thank you.
So
Yeah.
who are the authors that you love in particular? Like, were there certain people that really inspired you?
Yeah. Okay. So I am a huge fan of historical romances. Like huge fan. Like that's how I got into romance reading. Like my first romance novel was Prince Charming by Julie Garwood. Like she's a very famous romance author. And then, and I love her. She's one of the people that I really love. And from there, I started reading Julia Quinn, who now everybody knows who Julia Quinn is, right? I've loved her Bridgerton series. So good, so good. Judith McNaught, she's also, she doesn't write anymore, but she has had a really good historical romance like author career. Well, Sophie Kinsella, she, I don't know if you know her, but she did the Shopaholic series. They made a movie on one of her books, Confessions of a Shopaholic, I think. Yeah, long back.
Yes, yeah, I think I
Yeah,
do
I really,
definitely know the
yeah.
movie. I didn't even know that it was based on a book though. I have to read it.
No, it was, yeah. Oh my God, so good. You should totally read all her backlist. She's not a historical romance author, but her rom-com is really good. Um, who else? Like, so these were the people that I've read, like back in high
Mm-hmm.
school. And I guess what I like about them is the fact that I know what I'm getting into, with them. Like they all have like a style, a voice, and they keep it consistent. So it's like meeting an old friend. Like every year when they come out
Mm-hmm.
with a book, I'm like, oh yay, I'm so excited. I'm gonna get like, I don't know, like, chemistry. And Julia Quinn does a great banter between characters. So I love her banter a lot.
Nice.
Right? Yeah. So
So
I think
how did oh, sorry.
no, go ahead, please.
So with like being a fan of historical romance, how did you
Hmm.
sort of veer into the more, I guess, because you sort of do more like forbidden or age gap relationships?
Oh,
How did you
okay.
sort of get
So,
into that?
um, I guess because okay, I a lot of people ask me like if you love historical romance, why don't you write historical romance? It's because I suck at research. We have all like it's already been proven that I hate research. So I'm like I don't think I can like sit at a computer and research about like Victorian era, like to get every detail right. So it's like, okay, I'm gonna always write contemporary. Like I knew that right away. That I'm just gonna write what I know, especially as far as the setting goes. And forbidden because I grew up in India. Okay, we are a very conservative country. Back back when I was growing up, every romance was a forbidden romance. Basically, there was
Yeah.
there was like a lot of sneaking around going on. Like my mom was very strict. She never wanted me to have boyfriends or like go out with guys. But obviously, I had a boyfriend, on the down low. And we didn't have. I mean, I guess cell phones were emerging back then. I mean, it wasn't like a common thing that everybody had. So we would write like love letters to each other back in
That's so
school.
cute.
Aww.
so,
Stop.
so
What did they say? Read them now.
oh my god, my mom found a stack of letters one time and she was
Oh
so
shit.
mad. She was so mad. She threw everything out. I don't even remember what they said. She was very mad at
Oh,
me. I know she was
no. Mom.
she was very mad at me. But yeah, I mean, I guess I grew up like that, and we also have Bollywood. I don't know if you guys like know like Indian movies, right?
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
And we are very big on romance. We are very big on romance. Like we would make a movie about, I don't know, like a guy catching, I don't know, a terrorist or whatever, but there's always going to be like a side love story going. So we are very big on romance. So I guess that's where it came from.
You guys are just big in movies in
Yeah.
general. Like Bollywood is bigger than Hollywood. It's bizarre. It's like it's very confronting. And like whenever I go to like my local Indian
Right.
place, they have like Bollywood movies playing in the corner, and I'm like, this is
Yeah, I
amazing.
know. We're very
Like people falling through the sky, and the sky doesn't move, but they do. Like it's
I know.
incredible.
It's very larger than life, like,
Yeah, it's
So
amazing.
yeah, I grew up watching the movies, and I was like, everything is forbidden basically. You can't marry the guy you're in love with because he's poor or he's from a different, I don't know, religion or whatever. So yeah, that's how forbidden. I guess it was just in me. It was never like a conscious choice. You know what I mean? Like I never thought about writing a student teacher romance. It just happened. I just wanted to like write a story about like a grumpy asshole professor and this crazy stalker girl who falls in love with him and his poetry. And yeah, and it just happened from there. I guess I like
Nice.
the danger of it, because stakes are so
Yeah.
high when you're talking about a forbidden romance. Like you're not supposed to do it, but you're gonna do it. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, me and Betty were actually talking the other day about how there's always like an element of obsession in your
Yeah.
books, and it's
Yeah.
so good. I love it so much. Where did
Oh
you sort of
yeah.
come up with like just that absolute like obsessive nature of the female
Oh,
characters you write?
I don't know. Maybe because I'm obsessive. Like I'm very obsessive in general.
Is
Like,
that how you met your husband? You just stalked him for a while?
no, this actually. So the stalker
Jesus.
thing. Well, I don't know if you would call it a stalker thing, but I was really obsessed. Not like I had a huge crush on this guy back in college, um, and he never liked me back, right? He never noticed me. He was from like a different I would say like department. I was doing something with biology. He was doing something with, I don't know, like journalism or something, I don't know, whatever. So I just saw him one day and got really, I don't know, obsessed with him or whatever. So I would just like stand in front of his building with my friends just to
Oh my
just to
god.
look at him. And I mean, it didn't feel that obsessive back then, back when I was doing it. Now I think about it, I'm like, oh my God, yes, that's crazy what I did.
That's
Yeah, so
wild.
I really liked him.
The fact that you found time in your day to
Yeah,
stand outside
yeah,
from somebody's
I know. I mean,
house.
I love the fact that our
Honestly, I respect it. Because normally it's guys who do
I
that
know.
shit.
And so yeah, I was really obsessed with him. We talked a few times. He never, like, he was a giant asshole, I guess. I mean, he knew, I think, that I liked him. He would just like string me along, whatever. But I was like, what, 18 years old, 19 years old.
I'll go stand outside his house. Where is he?
So yeah, it never worked out, but I guess that just made an impression. And as I said, when I started writing, I was like, I'm gonna write something that I know, because that's the first thing that they teach you, right? Write what you know, which is not necessarily true, but because I was just starting out, I was like, okay, I'm gonna write something that I know. And
Nice.
this was the story that I had in my head, about a guy that I was very, very obsessed with. So I made him into a professor and turned the girl into this crazy stalker. Like I never did midnight stalking, only like maybe during lunch when I was free. I knew
Yeah.
that he was going to be in his class, and he was just gonna come out of the building or whatever. So yeah, yeah, and
Nice.
I guess that's what I like: obsessed girls, and also obsessed heroes, but like in secret, because
Uh-huh.
I don't want. I mean, if you've read my like majority of my work is where heroes have a bigger conflict than the heroine. Like heroines are very, oh, you know what, I'm gonna die for him and I'm gonna live for him and I don't care what the world thinks. But guys are more reserved and grumpy, and they have like more of a internal conflict, which I like, I guess, which comes from historical romance, I think,
Yeah.
because the
Yeah.
guys are very, like they're older and they have like all these rules that they follow, and girls are younger and wild, and they're more open. So yeah.
Yeah, it is very satisfying to read as well, because I feel like we've all had one-sided crushes or like
Yeah.
obsessions where, like, you'd stalk the person online, but like they'd never show interest in you. So just reading a
Yeah.
story where the girl gets the guy is
I
so
know.
satisfying. I feel like it sort of like quells like a part of me inside.
Yeah, I guess we've all had crushes like that where the guy doesn't even know that you exist, and you're like, oh my god, he's my everything.
Yeah.
Oh my god,
Yeah.
he
Oh my
looked
God.
at me today, or he just like we passed each other by in the hallway and he was so close. And he has no idea, like he doesn't know who the girl
No.
is.
I feel like I'm very
You're
different.
different.
I like walked up to people and I was like, I like you. And they were like,
You're brave, Ola.
yeah. Like there was never a person who didn't know that I had a
Oh
crush on
really?
them.
I love that. I love
Yeah.
that. I love that.
I think I'm a bit demented.
I was-
though.
No.
Yeah, it's like in a different way.
I was definitely I was a hidden crush kind of girly. I was like
Yeah.
Really?
like write in your diary, be like, this person's really cute kind of person, but like they'll never know.
Yeah, I was like
I
that.
was like, excuse me, I don't know your name, but I just wanted you to know that I really like your face. And they'd be like, what the fuck?
No.
Yeah, I was a bit upfront.
But I like that. I like that you go, you take charge, which is amazing. Because I could never.
Oh, it never worked. It never worked.
So out of all of the books that you've written, Saffron, do you have a favorite?
Oh yeah, definitely. I guess my top like two favorites, or like they're tied, is A Gorgeous Villain and Gods and Monsters. I also have to say The Hate Sick Diaries, which was my latest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Do you, and out of all the things that you've written, do you have any particular like smut scenes or sex scenes that have stuck with you?
Yes. Oh my god. Let's see. The one from The Unrequited, where she's where she's under the desk, and
Yeah.
and a colleague, like, she's doing wonderful things to Thomas, and his colleague knocks at the door, and she doesn't like let him go. She keeps like pleasuring him.
Yeah.
I love that scene so much. Oh my god, I really love that scene. And the other, I would say, all the scenes from A Gorgeous Villain, like all the sexy scenes, because I guess
Nice.
I'm like a fiend for like pregnancy romances. I'm pregnant right now, so I just
Yay, congratulations.
Thank you.
Muchos exciting.
I
Babies.
know. I never thought that I would find babies exciting, but now I do. Like,
No.
Yeah, once one's in
Yeah.
you don't really have a choice.
So yeah, all the pregnancy smut stuff that between Reed and Kelly, love those. I have
Nice.
a lot of fun writing those. Yeah.
If you could pick one of your like lead characters to date in real life, who would it be?
To date? Oh my god.
Mhm.
Oh, all my heroes are assholes. I don't know if
I was gonna say that, like, especially at the start of the books, like they can be quite awful.
Yeah, they do like awful things sometimes, and they say awful things, and they break your heart. I guess I would want to date Reed, probably, because he's very like obsessed with Callie, and he's been like he was obsessed since the beginning, but obviously never shows that. But he's like very like mellow on the inside. Not mellow, but like soft on the inside. He just tries to be tough on the outside, I guess. So that's what I like. So I would say Reed.
Yeah.
I would say Reed.
Nice.
Or Thomas. Of course, Thomas. Like courtly professor. Yeah.
But
always
he
ready
at
to
the beginning he is so mean to her.
Yeah, he is. Oh my god, he is.
He like humiliates her in front of the class, like it's
Yeah,
so weird.
that's why this is a difficult question to answer. Like,
Yeah.
he's awful. Like, I guess most of my heroes are awful in the beginning. I guess Yeah, but Thomas was one of the most awful ones, I would say.
But he's also he was so like deep as well though. Once he sort of came around.
Yeah. I know. Oh, he's
Nice.
dreamy from a
Yeah.
distance. He's dreamy from a distance.
And could you let us know if you have any plans for your next book that you're releasing?
Oh, yeah. So I was supposed to release like 3 days ago. Um, it's called You Beautiful Thing You. It's the first book in a brand new series, Bad Boys of Bardstown. So it's based on like Callie's brothers, the Callie from A Gorgeous Villain. So it's Saint Mary's Rebel spinoff, and it's a pregnancy romance.
Nice.
So yeah.
Did you start writing it before you found out you were pregnant, or did it come
Yes.
after?
Oh, yeah. No, before. Like I had planned these books long before I got pregnant. Like
Maybe
this
the book
is...
like made you pregnant
Oh
because
wow.
you were
Yes.
writing it.
Yes, that's what. Yeah, maybe. Yeah. So I knew I was gonna write a pregnancy romance this year. And as I said, it was gonna release like 3 days ago, but now I pushed it back because I wasn't really well in the beginning of my pregnancy. So yeah, I was like, oh well, this is. And when I found out that I was pregnant, I was like, oh well, what a strange, wonderful coincidence,
It's
no,
also, I guess it's kind of like bad timing as well though, because it's like you're writing this really hot pregnancy romance, but then you're not well during your pregnancy. You're gonna have things like, oh god, how are they doing this?
Yeah, so in the beginning I was like really sick, and I just hated, I think when I found out, I was very happy, right? But then my morning sickness got really, really bad. I was like, oh my God, I'm dying. I don't think I'm ever going to see second or third trimester. I'm going to be dead this year. And this would be like my last book. And I haven't even like finished writing it. And it's a pregnancy romance. I don't know. But I'm fine now. So, and I've started to write. But I have I have so many things that I can just incorporate uh, based on my own experience, which is what I'm really happy about because, well, I've already written a pregnancy romance, so I already know a lot of stuff that I researched before. But I like the fact that I don't have to Google things now. I can just talk to my doctor and just and that's it. That's it. I don't have to do much research, so that's good.
Nice. And finally, this is a question that we ask everybody that comes on, but do you have any advice for aspiring female authors?
Oh, let's see. Advice. Well, I would say the biggest advice that I would give anyone is to finish what you've started, because it looks like it seems very, very obvious and very simple. Of course I'm going to finish the book that I've started, but it's very hard. Books take a long time to write. It requires a lot of patience, and you have to stick with it even if you don't like what you're writing, or you're bored, or you think that, oh, this is not good enough, or I have a better idea, let me jump to that. I think finishing is one of the most common problems that every writer faces. It's you're excited about the idea in the beginning, but once you sit down to write it, it's not as rosy or fancy as it was in your head. So finishing is the first thing, and just write as much as you can. Write. Read as much as you can. Find what you like, what clicks with you. um, don't look for an original, quote unquote original idea. Like, nothing is original, everything has been done before. Just look for what you can bring to the idea. So, like, know your voice and know your style. Finish a book. Just, I don't know. Yeah, that's what I would say.
Just get it done.
Yeah.
Do you have
I would.
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, when you've go to writing your book and you get to those points in the book where you're like, this is getting a little bit boring now. Like, what do you do?
What do? I just I give myself a pep talk, or just step aside for like a couple of days, because I have like, whenever I write, I have these like checkpoints in my head where or plot points that I want to get to, where I'm like, oh, this is a very interesting plot point and I just want to get to it. And whatever I write in the middle sometimes seems boring, you know, but everything is like adding up to that moment. So I just like remind myself that, oh, you want to get to that scene where she does this crazy thing and you're not going to get
Mhm.
to it until you finish this. So
So
yeah, I just give
do you write
myself
your
a
books
pep.
as like a linear story? Like do you
Oh
write
yeah,
like beginning, middle,
yeah,
end? Yeah.
yeah, linear. I always linear. I cannot do like chapter 1 and then go jump straight to chapter 10.
Yeah.
I guess it's mostly because I write really heavy character driven stories. So, and like I have to like build up on my characters' emotions and like what they're thinking in the moment. So I need to know what my character is thinking in chapter 9 to be able to write chapter 10, or it won't
Yeah.
just it won't fit. Like I won't get the you won't feel anything, I won't feel anything, it will be a disaster. So so I stick to it. It's all linear. Yeah, and sometimes it gets very boring. And I'm like, okay, this is the worst thing I've written, but you know, at least I've written it, and I'm heading in a direction, and I can edit it later. You can always edit things
Yes,
later,
yeah.
make them more interesting. So yeah.
Nice. So from sort of start to finish, like normally, say you sit down and you start writing a book, how long does it normally take for you to until that book is then released?
Oh man. Okay. So I am a slow writer, or rather, I rewrite a lot. So I only release 2 books a year, sometimes one, depending on how fast I'm writing. So I would say 6 months from start to
Oh yeah.
finish. Yeah,
No.
6. Yeah, I mean, I do draft one, which is like a very rough draft, and everything sucks in that. But I do get the idea of what I'm doing, basically, like how my
Yeah.
characters are interacting with each other, or how they are in day to day life, which is very important to me to know. And then I start writing again, like from chapter 1, and that's like my second
Hmm.
draft, which I send to my editor, and then I
Even
keep
six
revising.
months seems even yeah, 6 months seems fast. Like so many of the romance authors that we've talked to, like they're
Hmm.
churning out books every like yeah, about 3 to 6 months. And that just seems
Yeah,
crazy to me. Like that you
I
just
know.
continuously coming up with a full book's worth of
I don't know
story.
how they do it. I don't know how they do it. I don't know. Maybe it's magic. Like I've still not
Yeah.
figured it out. Like some people release every 2 months, or every other month, or like, or even like 3 4 months, as you said. That's crazy to me. I don't know
Yeah.
how people do that. I don't have that many ideas in my head. And once I've written a book, I'm like, okay, I need a break now. Like because I've been so into this story for the past like 4 5 6 months. I need a little break. I need to like
Yeah.
cleanse myself.
Like a
um
palate cleanser.
yeah,
Then you
yeah,
can move
yeah,
on to the next.
exactly. Like I just want to rest,
Of
and
course.
not think about writing or work or anything. Like I just want to read, or just be outside in the sun, because I've been like shut up in this cave, like I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how people do it, honestly.
We were talking to some
Yeah.
authors, and they said that when they're writing, they have a full book start to finish just in their head, like a fully formed idea
Yeah.
pops into their
Oh,
head, and then all they can do is just sit down and like type for like 8 to 12 hours a day, and they
yeah.
because they have to get it out of their head
Oh my
immediately.
God, I'm so
That's
jealous.
mad.
I'm so jealous, because that doesn't happen to me at all. I'm like, it's like, for me, I have this. I always start with maybe one scene, okay? Like I have this one scene in my head that I want to get to. It's probably in the middle of the book, or in the beginning. I don't know. Like it's always in the middle somewhere, and I'm like, oh, I want to get to that scene. That scene is really interesting. So and then I start my journey. I'm like, how do I get there? What would make my character do something like this? So then it's like really a rough sketch that you make, like if you're painting. you're making a rough sketch just to see where everything fits or how your end picture is gonna look like. And then when you have a little idea, you scrap that and then you begin again. That's how I do it. That's why it takes me like so much longer, and my words flow probably during my third draft, which is when I've had all my feedback from my editor and I've talked with her and I'm like, okay, yes, this book can actually be good, and I just have to like tighten some things, like, or just put them all together. And the third draft, which I do, is basically rewrite some parts of the story, and I do it in like 10-12 days. So that's when I write 8 to 12 hours a day. Like I work basically reading the story again and like tying up all ends after.
Yeah.
So that's when it happens.
3 drafts is wild. You just wrote like 3 books. You wrote a book 3 times. That's wild.
I know, and all my books
works,
are so long.
though.
All my books are so long. So yeah, I don't know why. I mean, I don't know why I can't control my word count.
Yeah, I hadn't thought of that before, but your books are quite long. None of them are like a quick read. You like a lot of books that you read, they may be like 300 Kindle pages. You can just sort of like, read it in like a day or two. But yet your books are actually really long.
Oh my god, they're very long.
It works, I think, for the type of characters you write and the sort of stories. You need like a long timeline to build that tension.
Yeah, and I guess that you're right, because as I said, like my heroines are all in, let's say, from the beginning, but my heroes have like lots of issues. So to like resolve that, it takes time. And I like slow burn romances more, where there's like a lot of tension in the beginning. Like they just they want to do it, but they won't allow themselves to do it. So like, and when they actually do something, it's like, oh my god, it's fire. So which is what I like. So I guess that's why it takes a lot of time.
Well, we definitely love the 3 draft method. You've definitely been producing some great work.
Yeah, keep it up.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. We'll let you go. But it was great to get chatting with you, and we are looking forward to your next release.
Oh, thank you. It was amazing too. Thank you for having me.
Anytime.
Okay.
Come back whenever.
Okay.
All right. Bye.
Oh, wait. Next week.
I'm not good.
Oh, next week.
Sorry.
Sorry.
We always do this. But next week we're doing It Ain't Me, Babe by Tilly Cole.
By Tilly Cole, we're reading It Ain't Me, Babe. Yeah, and talking about it. So join in.
Yeah. Goodbye.
All right. Bye.
Thank you for listening to Girls Who Read Porn. Follow us at Girls Who Read Pod on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And for all business inquiries, please send us an email on girlswhoreadporn@gmail.com. Art created by Jessica Wanney and music made by Dane Forgy Stevens. See you next week and stay smutty, team.